Today we're looking at cities that are sinking, and here's a little heads up. Not all of them are sinking because of climate change. Nothing is forever. Rome, the dinosaurs, Miami Vice, and World War II all came to an end. And if you look at what's going on around the globe, some of our greatest cities may make it onto that list within the next 100 years. If you think about this planet's largest cities and how most of them came about, I'm really surprised we haven't lost a bunch already. Mother Nature has a way of erasing whatever we built. Our cities haven't really been planned. Most of them started out hundreds of years ago when a small group of people set up a hut near some water so they could live their life, fish, live, drink water, and enjoy the mosquitoes. One thing leads to 500 years later, and you have Miami. Rivers, lakes, and oceans have always been a part of human settlements, and water normally does what water wants to do. Floods, tsunamis, torrential rain, these things happen on a daily basis. And that's why I say I'm surprised we haven't lost a handful of cities already. Now, it's not just the floods and the tsunamis. In some places, we've pulled so many things out of the ground around the cities that the land beneath the cities have started to sink. In today's video, we're looking at the cities around the globe that are sinking. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Venice, Italy. This one shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that has ever seen a picture of Venice. It's a man-made island in a lagoon. Venice is a city that's celebrated for its picturesque canals that are in this lagoon and its rich history. Right now, it's grappling with concerning environmental issues. It's gradually sinking. The phenomenon is a result of two factors: the natural subsidence of the ground beneath the city and the rising sea levels caused by climate change. Now, is this equaling Venice is dropping like 6-7 inches a year? No, absolutely not. It's like 1 or 2 millimeters. But over time, that adds up. The big worry is, will that pick up steam? Will it start going faster? Will it end up being 7-8 inches a year? As the water rises, Venice faces a higher risk of frequent and severe flooding. This combination of sinking land and rising seas is a growing concern for the city's preservation and the safety of its inhabitants. So Venice is filled with a whole bunch of smart people, and they decided to take significant measures to combat this issue. These measures include constructing a series of flood control walls around the Venice Lagoon. These barriers are designed to defend against high tides and reduce the risk of flooding. There still remains a degree of uncertainty regarding the exact extent of Venice's sinking and how far it'll go by 2050. That seems to be the magic number for any of these environmental issues. 2050 seems to be what they're stuck on. So book a cruise to Venice now, go see the canals, because I don't know, by the time you retire, if you're not already there, it might be a different city. Number 9, Mexico City, Mexico. Mexico City, the bustling capital of Mexico, presents a unique and concerning geological situation. Originally, it was constructed on the site of an ancient lake. This was a good thing for a few different reasons. One, it was flat and they didn't have to move a lot of land as the city expanded. They also had water right underneath their feet, and they pumped it out for decades and decades and decades, hundreds of years. The problem with pumping all that water out of there is it leaves an open space underneath the ground, so it starts to sink to fill that space where the water once was. I had a teacher explain it years ago. I was in high school, so it's like 30 years ago. And he basically he had a balloon, and he put a baseball on top of it, and it was in this little box. And he'd let a little air out, and it would sink. And he's all, this is all that's happening. And he was talking about Mexico City during his little presentation. That's exactly what's happening in Mexico City on a grander scale. Now, it isn't uniformly just sinking. There's parts that are barely sinking in Mexico City, and then there's parts that are drastically sinking. They have certain areas that are dropping 9 inches a year. Now, their 2050 prediction is certain parts of the city will have to be demolished and either rebuilt or just left vacant. Mexico City's problem just can't be solved with some floodgates. They've got a lot of other issues they got to deal with. I mean, from environmental, urban planning, and geological. We'll see how it works out. Number 8, Bangkok, Thailand. Bangkok is the capital of Thailand, and it's experiencing a critical environmental issue. It is gradually sinking, like everyone else on this list. The alarming situation arises from two main causes. Like Mexico City, they've been pumping too much water out of the ground, and it's starting to show. Like Mexico City, some places are sinking far faster than other parts, but there's a reason for this. As the groundwater is removed, the soil above becomes compact and it settles, leading to a gradual sinking of the land surface in one area while other areas dropping faster. I could explain the whole thing to you, but I'd need about a month and an easel. Now, the other problem they're seeing here is the immense weight of the city's numerous large buildings. This adds on to their problem. These structures are putting an incredible amount of pressure on the land, contributing to the sinking phenomenon. In recent years, it's only been shrinking about 5 to 7 millimeters a year, but they are starting to see it pick up steam, and they think within the next decade, it'll be dropping closer to 10 to 30 millimeters annually. They're trying to find new ways to compact the soil underneath the buildings before it gets too bad. That's something they've been studying and trying to work on, but they're also building seawalls. As ocean levels rise, they want to be prepared for that by the magic number of 2050. Number 7, New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans has always been underwater. I mean, it's below sea level. They've got a whole bunch of levees and pump stations to keep the water out of New Orleans. According to some forecasts, there's a possibility that certain areas of New Orleans might experience a decline in elevation, potentially sinking as much as 2 feet or 60 centimeters by the year 2050. This situation raises significant concerns about the city's future stability and the safety of the residents. I mean, we saw what happened to New Orleans when the levees broke during Hurricane Katrina, and that was horrible. Number 6, Shanghai, China. Shanghai is a bustling metropolis in China, and the city's facing significant issues. This is another place that's been sucking too much out of the ground, and the city's kind of fallen into the hole that they've created. It's crucial for maintaining the ground stability. When too much is removed, the ground becomes less stable and starts to sink. Shanghai also has the problem that they've got these giant buildings that are making the situation worse. I mean, it's already going down because they've sucked all the water, and they're just adding more pressure onto that and just pressing the city and the land down. Right now, they're working on reducing the amount of groundwater they take. This so far has shown positive results. They've been doing it about 6 years now. The problem's not solved by any stretch of the imagination, but this is helping. Shanghai continues to experience a drop in elevation, with some parts sinking as much as 1.5 centimeters, about 1.5 inches each year. Number 5, Houston, Texas. Houston has a truckload of problems already. This is just like a cherry on top of the suckage pie. This is another city that's taken too much out of the ground beneath the city, and this time it's not just water. They've been taking everything out from underneath Houston. Water, oil, gas. In certain parts of Houston, they already see the land shrink by 2 inches every single year. If the trend continues and doesn't slow down for some reason, they're going to face serious challenges for the city by 2050. Number 4, Manila, the Philippines. Manila, the capital city of the Philippines, is also experiencing a little shrinkage. This issue has to do with where they've been getting their groundwater. They've been pulling it out right from below the city, and it's starting to show in a big way. On top of that, they're worried about climate change and a rise in sea levels. All those things come into play when you're talking about the Philippines, and more specifically, Manila. Manila sinks about 10 centimeters every single year. Number 3, Miami, Florida. Miami is grappling with 2 significant environmental challenges: the gradual sinking of its land and the relentless rise of sea levels. Now, there's less detailed information available about the rate in which Miami's land is sinking. The threat posed by rising sea levels is increasingly alarming and has major implications for the city's future. They're making plans for more seawalls and pumping stations. Now, the pumping stations I read in one article, but I couldn't find any other information about it. I was really hoping for more details on it. The one that New Orleans has, or the few that New Orleans has, are amazing. They're huge. So we're not really sure how fast it's sinking or what parts are sinking the most or the fastest. One thing we do know is the state of Florida and the federal government are putting a lot of effort into fixing the potential problems that Miami may face in the future. Number 2, Beijing, China. Beijing is the capital city of China, and it's facing a bunch of problems, including sinking to the center of the earth. The primary reason for this sinking is the excessive withdrawal of groundwater. They've got a lot of people there, and they've been pulling a lot of groundwater out for many, many years. Now, this really isn't a new thing for Beijing. They've known about it since about the 1970s. But it wasn't until the late 90s that they actually started putting some effort into fixing the situation. The first thing they did was put a bunch of restrictions on how much water they could pull out of the earth around Beijing. In some areas of Beijing, the rate of sinking has been alarmingly high, reaching up to 11.5 centimeters or about 4.5 inches per year. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link for that down below. We'd love it if you went over there and subscribe, watch some videos, and enjoy your day, learn something. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Tokyo, Japan. Tokyo is the bustling capital city of Japan. This is another city that pulled too much water out of the ground along with other things. Combine that with future rising sea levels and Tokyo has some serious problems. Now, here's the good news. They've gotten better and they've slowed down how fast they're sinking. Tokyo has made remarkable progress in addressing this issue. The key to this success has been the implementation of strict regulations regarding the extraction of groundwater. These policies have been designed to control and limit the amount of water that is drawn from beneath the city. Thanks to these measures, the rate at which Tokyo is sinking has been dramatically reduced. Today, the city is sinking at a much slower pace, about 2 millimeters a year. It used to be about 4 centimeters a year. Tokyo's always been big on seawalls. I mean, they never know when Godzilla is going to show up, so they've always been prepared for Godzilla and tsunamis. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.